Hello and welcome to Gadget Joe. Today we're going to take a look at the second part of a build log of Alter Ego. Now Alter Ego is of course the PC desk that I'm working on at the moment. It's basically a 6 foot long desk that has two compartments in it. One side on the left is going to be my main system which I use for everyday usage, and on the right hand side it's going to house a test bench which is more ideal for the work production such as what we're doing here. So obviously when I'm getting graphics cards, motherboards or processors, everything like that, I can just test it on there without actually having to take apart my home system, which I have to do right now. It's been a little while since we've done an update, and that's mainly because we've been waiting for parts to come through and we've had another few little distractions in the meantime. But work is going ahead quite quickly now, and the actual desk is already pretty much nearly built. There's a few more bits to do yet. I'm just waiting for a few more little bits to arrive, such as acrylic panels to try and make extra details on there. I'm waiting for some more fans and some extra parts to come through, and a few more cables. I've been sent a lot of stuff by Alphacool, which is mostly what you're going to see in this video here. This video is basically a quick update of where we are, what components are being used in this desk, and a bit of a layout where it's going to go. Today we're going to focus on the main part, which is the main PC, which is what I'm going to be using on the left hand side. Obviously the desk itself, this part is basically a large box which can house all these components. Underneath it it's going to have more components, which is a bit of a hideaway for the PSU and extra cabling, and also for the water cooling loop. The pumps are going to be on display. A bit more of that later on in the video. First of all, we have the radiators, and we have the Alphacool Icebreaker Pro XT45, which is one of the newer offerings available. The XT45 is a full copper setup with some unique new features such as the air breaker mat, which is of course the coarse sponge mat on either side of a radiator, housed underneath the hexagonal grills. There are 6 mounting points to allow maximum flexibility when it comes to mounting the unit, and the sides of the radiator have the blue Alphacool logo that lights up during use. The side panels can also be removed for further customization. This particular unit is a 240mm variant, and I have opted for 2 of these, one for the GPU and the other for the CPU. Next we have the reservoirs. Once again we have 2 of these, for obvious reasons, and I opted for the 250mm Alphacool Icebreaker Lite. The reason for these is that it runs separately away from the pump, meaning the pump can be placed away from the unit, which in our case is perfect. The Icebreaker Lights come with an Alphacool bubble bar situated at the bottom of the unit to prevent drawing air into the loop. The reservoir has a 60mm diameter too, making it a very reasonably sized setup. For the GPU we have opted for the Alphacool Nexus GPX 480 M03. Which is made for the RX 480, which I have in my system. The cooler is relatively compact and slim, so it won't take a lot of space on your system at all. The GPU chip itself is cooled via a liquid injection system and a copper contact plate, meaning maximum coolant contact. The rest of the card is passively cooled via the housing. The cooler comes with a backplate also, which not only further enhances the cooling, but also completes the look too. Last but certainly not least, we have the CPU cooler itself, which is the Alphacool IceBlock XPX unit. This is one of the latest offerings by the company, and the XPX blocks have superior cooling capabilities with an enhanced cooling surface inside, which is distributed much more evenly to the contact plate than previous models. What's more is that the unit comes with fittings for AMD and Intel, and also is fully customizable once again, with a top that can be removed for changing colours. The Alphacool logo once again lights up in blue when in use. The model we have is the chrome variant, which looks absolutely incredible. This is how it's going to be originally laid out, and what it was is basically the motherboard was going to be in the corner, and then obviously you've got all your fittings on there, and the water cooling block in the corner, and the graphics card cooling block here. The reason I was going to have it in the corner was so that I could have the I/O panel on the back of it here, and then all it was going to do was basically have the tubing coming off here and feeding into the desk with some pass-throughs. This would then obviously feed through underneath, because underneath is where a lot of the water cooling components are going to be, and it will come back through to the radiators which are mounted on the sides here. So obviously you've got two 240s with 120 fans on top, located on the left. All I would do then is obviously use the outlets and inlets here, again straight into the desk, and everything would be done underneath it. You'd then have another one coming through to the two reservoirs here, which are mounted on display. Now this was obviously, it was an okay design, but it left a lot of space which was unused, and I was going to maybe put a couple of SSDs on the bottom, try and put some logos here, or just try and fill it up a little bit. But when I've been trying to look into it, it's a bit more difficult in the sense that it's going to be not really showing off any of the tubing. Now the tubing that I'm using is actually 13 by 10 PET tubing, from Alphacool. And I wanted to show it off because obviously I'm using the UV blue in there as well, which matches all the fans and the components and the lights. So, speaking to Adam, we decided to have a bit of a change around. Because obviously at the moment, if I have this on here, I'm going to have to make two different things with an unnecessary bend here. This is obviously going to be stood up, but again I'm going to be left with 2 points coming out here, then two here, two here, two here and two here, which would probably look okay because it's all these fittings that you see here. Now the fittings are actually really quite good, but the problem you've got is obviously it's all well and good having lots of nice fittings on there, but you really want to show off that coolant in there. You really want to make it look like a proper water cooling setup. So what we decided to do, I say we, it was more Adam of AdMods that actually, after a bit of a conversation, decided. So what we decided to do is take this off and put that down here, move the radiator to the side here, have the motherboard in the middle, so obviously it'd be measured right to the middle of this here. The reservoirs could then go more here and here. Obviously these two bits here will be taken off, it'll just be the basic smaller plates. And then take this radiator and have it here. Obviously maybe move it down a little bit. But now the advantage of this is that not only does it look better, it uses the space more. I can then put an SSD up here if I wanted to, and one here, and then I can put the logos, etc., and it'll all light it up perfectly. Now like this, actually it helps my OCD a bit. I tend to like everything symmetrical and looking good, and this works really well. Now the other good point about this is that I can use the tubing now. So I could have one coming out of here, all the way along here, and a bend at the top going straight to the CPU block, and the same again going up to the GPU block. So you'll end up seeing a lot of the tubing here. This one will go through a pass-through, this one will go through a pass-through, which in turn will come up about here to the reservoirs, and the same there. So again you'll see that and it'll look symmetrical. Then you'll have one through from the bottom, going out, and so forth. And that's pretty much it. Now this design obviously looks a lot better, it looks a lot tidier, and this is the final sort of thing I'm going to go for. When it's all done, you're not just going to see this. This is going to be having cutouts for fans here, because obviously it's all well and good having the fans on the top, but you need to have a ventilation coming in. And without having it mounted upside down and holes on the bottom, the only place to do that on a desk build is to have it from the sides or the front. So this is going to be cut out and have multiple fans on here, and then the same again on the front. Now Anidees are actually sending me out two of their blue LED fans, which are going to go on the front, and one white one in the middle. Now this way I can have it pulling the air in and then pushing it back out in the back. And that's it. That is basically it. Underneath the desk, some of you will actually be looking and thinking, actually, where's the pumps? The pumps are going to be underneath here, but we're going to be displayed, because underneath here I've got another open space. I'm going to put a little board up here, and it's going to have the pumps mounted on that with an acrylic front. So basically you'll still see the pumps, because the pumps themselves and the blocks, it would be a shame not to show them off. because they are obviously the Alphacool fittings. If you haven't already guessed it by now, the build is sponsored by Alphacool and Aquatuning. And that's obviously this. Now it would be a shame not to show this off. So this and the pump, which is one of the new VPP 755 pumps. Just going to make a little bit of a mess of the desk again. Again, the pump looks stunning as well. As you can see here, I've got lots of photos in my build log. If you want to see more details of the products themselves, check out the build logs, which I'm going to link in the description below. And that will basically show all the components that I'm using. I'm actually going to do another video of when I'm fitting the GPU block to show you how to do that. Also a little review. The same with this. Now with this, I'm actually wanting to do, I'm going off subject a little bit here, but what I want to do with this is I want to try and take this case off, and I want to get the Gadget Joe logo engraved on the front. Now I'm not going to be able to get it light up like that, but it'll still look just as good. A little bit more personalisation again. So obviously back to the pump. You have it plugged in there, and in this way you can now see, I'll have it mounted either that way, or I'll work that out eventually, and that'll be on display underneath, feeding both the reservoirs and the radiators, etc. So this way it'll create the perfect environment for a very nice cool setup. Now originally I'm actually using my existing board, which is quite dated now actually. It's a Asus R5A97 with a AMD FX 8350, 16GB of RAM. Now it's not bad, it does my job that I need to do, it does the editing that I need to do. I am looking to upgrade that in the future, but at the moment I'm trying to get the desk built and running. So that is basically the new design. Let me know what you think in the comment below, in the description below. And that pretty much sums up this episode. This is obviously the second part of a build log that I'm putting on YouTube. I do have other build logs, like I mentioned earlier. If you want to go and have a look at them, I'm going to leave the links in the description below. There's a few more high resolution pictures, and you can see more detail what sort of components I'm using. In the next episode, which is going to be maybe next week or the week after, you're going to see a bit more of a completed build. There's a few ideas that I've actually thought up within just recording this recently that I'm going to start adding on it, such as more acrylic plates and a lot more lighting, to hopefully make the desk look absolutely fantastic. Once I've got it all done, the main part then is getting the actual outside of a desk looking just as good as the inside. That is going to be on the last part. Then of course there's going to be the acrylic for the top. And then it'll be complete. Everything will be done. So, if you want to keep an eye on what's coming up next, be sure to check us out on Facebook. Be sure to give a thumbs up on this video here. And also, most importantly, subscribe to see more. And that is pretty much it. So until next time, goodbye.